Researchers in Turkey now claim they found indisputable evidence that the story of Noah's Ark was not a cautionary tale about the consequences of forsaking God, but a verifiable historical event.
See this outline? It's not just a shape. The scans carve a plan, a central aisle, right-angled compartments, and 3 stacked decks inside a hull-shaped ridge, high in eastern Turkey. This is Durupınar, a place where myth and geology wrestle in the same ground. Look closer. Radar lines, resistivity slices, thermal cues that hint at sealed spaces. Soil chemistry rich with organic traces. The data reads like architecture, and that's the mystery. Stay and watch the blueprint assemble before your eyes. From the air, the ridge looks deceptively simple, a contour tapering to a blunt bow, its symmetry catching the eye even at a distance. In the 1950s, Turkish pilots noticed it during routine patrols. They circled back, marked coordinates, and logged the strange, ship-like form. The rumor spread fast. A frozen ark on a mountainside. Archaeologists, geologists, explorers all came to see for themselves. On foot, the impression grew stronger. The ridge wasn't just a natural mound. It measured long, narrow, and unnervingly regular. Durupınar became a testing ground, not for myth, but for measurement. Teams stretched tapes along its axis, about 234 feet, close to the ancient cubits described in old flood narratives. Coincidence? Maybe, but precision invites curiosity. From every direction, arguments collided. Skeptics leaned on the terrain. Mudflows can mirror themselves, landslides can form near symmetry, and erosion can sculpt edges that fool the eye. Yet, the ridge resisted randomness. Angles repeated. Curves stayed consistent. The bow ended cleanly, not feathered or frayed, but as if shaped with intent. So they turned to instruments, tools that pierce below the surface and listen for order. Ground-penetrating radar, pulsing microwaves into the earth, recording how they bounce back from what lies below. Electrical resistivity, sending current through the soil, sensing where matter conducts or resists. Together, they map the unseen. Chaos scatters, structure patterns. And what came back was not chaos. A central corridor, continuous and clean, ran the entire 234-foot length of the ridge. Off that spine, branch-like voids appeared at even intervals, each connected by thin cross lines that stayed perfectly straight. Fractures meander. These didn't. Imagine scanning a sealed library. The aisles appear as long parallel bands. The shelves repeat in rhythm. That's what the radar showed. Discipline where nature usually drifts. Resistivity added its voice. A firm, resistive boundary wrapped around the mass, while softer zones filled its interior. At different depths, distinct bands appeared, stacked like floors, not random sediment. 3 levels, evenly spaced. A linear feature cutting diagonally between them, perhaps a ramp, perhaps a passage. Each method told the same story from a different angle. Radar, resistivity, magnetometry, all converged on the same image, an interior plan within a natural shell. By the time the last profiles were layered together, Durupınar had shifted, in the minds of many, from landform to layout. A hull that holds its shape, a spine that runs its length. 3 decks, a pattern that refuses to vanish. Discovery always divides. Some saw design, an artifact hidden by time. Others saw geology playing tricks. The region is complex. Lava flows, glacial deposits, and ancient mudslides crisscross the slopes. Nature can imitate order. But here's the question that keeps coming back. Why does that imitation match architectural proportions so precisely? Over the decades, multiple teams return with different instruments, different researchers, same coordinates. And the lines, the corridors and compartments kept appearing. No 2 teams processed the data identically, yet the structure repeated, as if the ground itself remembered its plan. It's that persistence, across time, across tools, that keeps Durupinar alive in conversation. Geometry draws the lines, but chemistry colors the story. Investigators sampled the soil, inside the outline and outside on the slope. The difference was unmistakable. Inside, soil's darker, richer, and heavy with organic residue. Outside, lighter, more sterile hillside matrix. The contrast was too strong for coincidence. Organic content inside reached nearly 3 times higher. Potassium levels, the fingerprint of decayed wood, rose by almost 40%. Potassium doesn't stay by chance. It comes from long, slow decomposition, wood breaking down cell by cell, leaving behind minerals that cling to the earth for centuries. The acidity told the same tale. Outside, near neutral. Inside, lower pH. The quiet echo of cellulose turning into humic acid. Even more intriguing, the low pH zones weren't random patches. They traced the same geometric grid the radar had mapped. Thermal scans added yet another layer. Cooler pockets appeared, regions that held moisture as if insulated from the surface. Their shapes, right angles, corridors, rooms, and then metallic hints. Tiny bright reflections clustered along the corridor, and at intersections where beams would logically meet. They didn't spread evenly like mineral veins. They gathered like fixtures, like the hardware of a forgotten framework. Skeptics offer valid alternatives: organic buildup from plants, groundwater movement, natural nodules of metal. Yes, each could mimic one anomaly, but all together, aligned with the same geometry? Harder to explain away. It's like reading the ashes of a burned library. The shelves are gone, but the residue still outlines where knowledge once stood. Science can describe patterns, but it's humans who search for meaning. For local villagers, Durupinar carries a quiet reverence. Some see it as sacred ground, a place where an ancient story might have left its shadow. Others come as skeptics, leaving as questioners. The site humbles, even in uncertainty. Standing there, wind sweeping across the ridge, stone dust in the air, you can feel how myth and measurement blur. Every scan, every soil test, adds another voice to the argument. No single result proves intent. But the pattern, that stubborn repeating pattern, refuses to disappear. When geometry, chemistry, and thermal signatures converge, the Earth begins to whisper like a schematic. 3 tiers, a central corridor, boundaries that behave like a hull. Still, the final word belongs to the cores. Samples drilled deep, dated precisely, telling whether we stand over rock or ruin. Caution remains. As one researcher said, human behavior doesn't prove a biblical story, but curiosity drives us forward. Something unusual lies beneath Durupinar, a pattern too stubborn to fade, too ordered to dismiss. So where do you land? Is this nature's symmetry, or an ancient construction buried by time and legend? Leave your thoughts below, and subscribe, because the next round of scans and core samples might just change what we think we know about history, about myth, and about the memory written in the earth itself. If the ground can keep a blueprint, what else might it be archiving beneath our feet?